Sensitivity is intelligence. With grace and skill, you have abundance. Welcome to the Psychic Hour. Host Kelly Brickle is a psychic medium healer, numerologist, and teacher. Her passions are learning about the soul and energy. Whether it's through spirit, emotion, or vibrational numbers, there's always a pathway of information waiting to help. Now, here is your host of the Psychic Hour, Kelly Brickle.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to WLTK-DB, Let's Talk Radio. This is the Psychic Hour. I am Kelly Brickle, and it is great to see you once again. We are doing a double show today, so we are having Joan Marie on, visionary artist, and she's just wonderful with her portraits and just very spirit connected with her inspiration and her intuition, so she'll be talking about that. And also we have a reading show that's going to happen just 30 minutes after this show. So sometimes, every once in a while, on a Friday, we do a double show. The original format is that Wednesdays and Fridays, though. So we're going to have a double treat. Always accept that, right? And I want to dive into really the topic of the day. And this is really an inspiration with Joan Marie, because she has such a, exuberance when she talks. She has such a positivity when she talks, and you're going to see it. And so I really just want to talk about the joy in life. Hi, Angela. Hey, welcome. And so it's nice to see people popping in, on different days. And joy is such an important topic to talk about because it is such a cornerstone of life. It's such a natural part of life that sometimes we overlook it, or, we find ourselves longing for it, or we just don't have even time for it because it's just such a cornerstone of an emotion. I hope that makes sense, because sometimes when we are just living through the natural emotions, whether it's happy, sad, anger, despair, contempt even, sometimes that initial moment, feeling, or event, it's so a part of us that sometimes we don't think about cultivating more or less unless we're really in touch with our emotions. And that's why it's so powerful to talk about how to be, in relationship with what we are actively experiencing, not just within our brain, and what we can lean into, not just kind of lock away because we don't have time for this, or, yeah, of course, I'm trying to cultivate that, but we don't actually have presence or, time for it. I think that's like really, really important. What makes somebody, I guess, achieve their goal, because we're all achieving goals in life. We all have aims in life. We all have desires, is the ability to have time, space, presence, and focus for it. Because if you talk to anyone, whoa, how'd you do it? They showed up and they're like, I knew something had to change, or I started feeling like this, or I leaned into that. And so their former self operated a certain way, and then their new selves started to operate a new way, or whenever they were tested, because we all have these natural abilities to kind of do things a certain way. And it's just like someone goes, wow, you're really good at that. But when it comes to a head and we have to lean in and feel something different, or we have to really be present for what's going on in the situation because it calls a different set of skills, it calls a different perspective, that's when we have to lean into and understand some of our basic understandings of how we process things or what we want to cultivate more of. And so I think joy is such a powerful example of how we can lean into feeling completely different in our life. And I talk about presence a lot, and it's so important because I want things too, but sometimes I'm not present for them. Okay. Like, think about it. So I will say this, I do enjoy cooking. I feel like I'm a natural when I'm around food, to a certain degree, right? You can't just stick me anywhere. You can't stick me in like a Michelin restaurant and be like, I don't know how to blanch this the way you want to blanch this, or flambe it. But like I feel like I naturally connect with food very well. And so I just naturally have presence for it because my brain can calm down and go, I can see through this route. Or what if we pair these ingredients together in my mind or with what's in front of me? So I have a greater degree of maneuverability and flexibility within a kitchen. Um, but there's other things in my life that I do not have a flexibility or maneuverability in, that something would just be natural for a person. And so I just want to give yourself credit in life. So I lean into cooking because it gives me joy. Okay. But I want you to know that naturally I'm able to have that flexibility because in my mind, there's so many tabs that are open for me to be present with what I can do in that situation. When we're in a situation that is overwhelming or we don't have maneuverability and flexibility, our brain goes, I don't know what to do. I literally don't know what to do. And you'll find yourself staring at the wall or rubbing your head, right? And so to cultivate certain emotions such as joy, like actually it's it's an opportunity before the actual event happens. And I'm just gonna give an example. So I have friends and family, and sometimes they're like, I have no idea what to cook. Because, I'm just using an example. I have no idea what to cook. I have no idea what to do. The kids are going nuts. I have no idea, right? And it's just like, just make a list before that event happens, where you just know what's in the fridge, or you just know something super simple that you can always make that's satisfying. And then you do not have to think about it, because when we are successful or we're good at something, we can just go. We're in a state of natural flow. So, if you ever find, again, that resistance, all you have to do is essentially is take a list out of your drawer or take a list that is already on the wall and go, wow, okay, I know what it's going to take to get back into my state of flow. I've literally already problem solved the issue prior. Okay. And now it's the time to apply. Um, and so I want to talk about that because it sounds so generic, but actually it has so much spiritual implication and so much spiritual enrichment of thought connected to that. Um, Not that we always have to have lists. Okay, lists are not how life operates in every form, but it's almost like if you're in touch with your emotions and your needs, when an opportunity hits, you go, wait, okay, I actually kind of know what I need. Not maybe exactly, but I kind of know what I need. And so we're talking about joy now. Within my life, I feel I have a lot of joy. I have a lot of joy in what I'm doing. I feel like when I'm with myself, I can feel very naturally joyous or cultivate that with my environment or my inner self. But there's times where that is pressed upon. And so I kind of like try to have things in my bank where I go, yeah, what do I want to do? Because when you're stressed, it eliminates that certainty. It eliminates that natural, like, yeah, let me go for a walk, or let me go take a class. All of a sudden you're just like, do I really want to do this? Like, what am I really doing? We get scattered so easily. We get scattered so easily. And that's human nature. And that's okay. And so to be in touch with ourselves in so many different forms, we can actually have the ability to call ourselves back during the scattering. It sounds like an event, but we have that event quite often in our lives, the scattering, right? Angela talks about, I love that. I've been resisting so much and I am just now coming out of it. Whew, getting back to presence, gratitude, love, and joy. Yeah, gosh, right? And we can feel that resistance when it's thick, and we can feel that alleviation, like, I can think straight. I can think straight. And so it's like matter of what do we do with that time when we find ourselves clear? What do we cultivate? Because some of us, we are just not knowing what to do, and that's okay. But the next step is going, you know what? I'm going to get curious, or you know what? I'm going to see what happens when I find out. Because I think so many of us, when we have something we're going through in our life and we're just like, I don't know quite what to do, we kind of just stay in that vibration. and understandable because that's where we are. But I encourage you to just kind of do something different, push yourself, or to have this list or the collection of thoughts that you start to generate and go, you know what? I kind of have been thinking a lot. Like, I'd like to go to the movies. I'd like to go on a hot air balloon. That's a tongue twister. Hot air balloon ride. Um, I'd like to go and work on my garden outside. And everyone has these things where it's like, well, I would like to do that, but I'm not sure how to do that. And, it's just about saying, I don't know what I'm doing sometimes, but I would like to do that. There's my joy. And if I've been thinking about this for a while, whether I wrote it down or it's been in my heart, in my head, I know that it's been built up because my body wants me, my spirit wants me to be in the presence of what's been on my mind. Like all the thoughts and feelings, they circulate within us. But and they feel kind of scattered, like, oh yeah, like in the future, I'd like to do this. I've always wanted to do that. Um, you know, I saw myself going overseas, one of these days. Well, that joy and that aspiration, it's so future based. It's in your energy, but it's, you know, when we are present, when we are, vital and we are courageous, a lot of this takes courage. Like, we don't know how to do it. But when we're courageous, the energy comes from the heart. And so we gather up all of our feelings and our thoughts and our desires or considerations, and we bring them to our heart. And that's in front of us. And we start to be present and we go, let's do it. Let's do it. I'm going to book that ticket, or I'm going to, call that company with that hot air balloon. I'm just going to step outside and see where the heck I'm going to put my next batch of flowers. That's the thing, So I want to challenge you almost in a way to see what happens when you start to understand how presence and emotion come together to create balance and to create power within your life. And there's some things with our emotions that naturally we will be more distant with. And then there's other things that readily come front and center. And then there's these longings that circulate around us. And if you have a particular, I guess, longing and you want it, bring it to front and center and just see what happens. Because yeah, we don't know. And that's part of the courage. That's part of the journey. And we're never alone. Even though we don't know sometimes, we're never alone. And that knowing is always supported, cultivated, and loved through something bigger than ourselves. So step into the courage, step into the joy, or step into any other emotion that you need to really activate within your life that has been surfacing. And I love and leave you with that for now. So we are going to have Joan Marie on in a moment. When we come back, we'll bring her on and talk to her. So see you in a few.
Want to keep up with the latest at the station? How about catch up on your favorite shows on the go? Download the free WLTK-DB mobile app on the App Store and Google Play. Watch, listen, and shop right from the palm of your hand. The WLTK-DB mobile app. The truth is here and now. Get yours today.
Hello and welcome back. Hello, let's bring in Joan Marie. Hello, Joan Marie. Hello. Hi. Yes.
Hello.
Many hellos. I want to introduce you to everybody. Joan Marie is a visionary artist who creates personal power portraits expressing individuals' higher selves. She intuitively and artistically connects to their unique energy. Joan Marie creates art with exuberant passion for life. Her energy is infectious. Her intuitive creations radiate divine inspiration and a powerful force of love. Welcome. Feel it, yes. Embrace it.
Thank you.
I love, just every time I see you, whether it's a picture on Facebook or now in person live, you're always with color, so much color. The pink and I love the necklace you're wearing, and even just a segue into the wonderful artwork you do. It's right behind you and it's gorgeous.
Thank you.
Absolutely. What portrait is behind you, if I may ask?
This is personal. Yeah, the eagle is my strongest spirit animal. It just brings, like, the eagle flies higher than any other bird, so it connects to God, to the spirit. It's just a constant reminder to see life from a higher perspective. So when when you see things like if something stresses you out, if you look at it from a higher perspective, suddenly it looks really beautiful because you can shift that vision. And just feeling that energy of feeling, the wings open and flying and soaring. So it's a symbol. It's a powerful symbol for me.
Wow. There's so many parts to what attracts somebody to their animal totem. Emotionally, spiritually, has this animal followed you throughout your entire life, or did it surface at a certain age?
Yeah, it actually started as an owl, and then it shifted to an eagle. So they both have similar, similar characteristics. But the first thing I did was a 9-foot owl that had wings stretched, and I needed that energy really bad. And then it switched to the eagle. So yeah, it's followed me. It's been in there always.
What did the owl represent to you?
At the time, I didn't really understand symbolism. I was 20 and or 19 even, and it just represented. No, actually, what am I saying? This was after college when I felt free to do what I wanted to do, and I was living on my own, and I had my first living space, and I created a 9-foot owl above my couch, and I did it because in college I really couldn't have done that kind of thing in a fine art university. They would have frowned on what are you doing. So I felt free to do what I wanted, and the first thing was like I needed the energy of because owls as eagles, they see what they want with their powerful eyes, and they just go for it, and they have those powerful wings, so they're just very determined with that free, powerful flow feeling, but they're very determined, and they see and they go for it. So to me, it was just that at that time.
So listening to you went to formal art school, and none of this was encouraged, it sounds like. What did they encourage you to be instead, if I may ask?
Well, I mean, I graduated in 1978. So, the art that was going on in the galleries was pretty negative, pretty intense, pretty like really large paintings that showed, some of the darkness that was going on in the world. And that's what the galleries in New York were showing. And so I was in a big university that was a powerful university. They wanted us to represent, the galleries in New York. So, to draw something like, I don't know, it was just too foo-foo, I guess, for them, even an eagle, because it was just not coming from that intense, internal, dark space.
I almost think it's like I should know what it's called, but the thinking man,
Oh,
when he's
yeah.
like deep in contemplation. But you're talking to me as in a way they wanted to like invoke like all these other kind of darker emotions within the human psyche within art.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was definitely sharing what was kind of going on in a part of the psyche of the world, which is what art does. It reflects what's going on, and that's what's so powerful about art is it reflects what's going on at the time. So I wasn't representing what was going on in the time because I was just kind of in my own world.
So once you were able to break free, it was actually quite was it easy? Was it easy?
Well, no, never. I mean, anybody who knows my story, it's like when I was 19, which was just before I went to 1 year of college, not knowing what I was going to major in. And then over the summer, I went to Italy to take some classes, and I saw Michelangelo's Sistine ceiling, and that's what shifted my life. Like I saw Michelangelo's, I just swooned, and I just the spiritual energy just filled my soul. And I just said, oh my gosh, if art can be that powerful, I have to be a part of it. So that's what was in my soul, not the darkness that was going on in the times. And there was, Vietnam War. I mean, all that, there was some really dark things going on, but I was so filled with Michelangelo and Leonardo da Vinci, which I saw their originals. And I just was so filled with their energy that was what was filling my soul. So, I got through college, and I got a degree a minor degree to teach school so that I would have a job. So then I did my art, on my own, so that it could be free to do what I wanted to do, because I just felt so, like in my childhood, I was raised by a German father who gave me rules. And then I felt like the university that I was in was giving me rules, about how to, yeah, like this is what a great artist does. And this is what I was like, I wasn't quite fitting in. So I felt, and I just didn't feel good enough, so it's like that carried with me for many years. It plagued me. So my life was too much of my life was that battle of feeling Michelangelo and Da Vinci in my soul and feeling so heartbeat pounding, inspired by that, along with the other voice going, "You're not good enough," You're not you're just not good enough for all these different reasons. I could come up with a million of them. And that battle was always inside, and that's what kind of kept me a little more restrained until I broke free, which is basically recently, because too much of the time I was trying to make money, because I was teaching high school art, which I loved the job, but I just felt like I'm here for other things, so I kept trying to make things with my art that would sell. Yeah. And I would sell well, for a while, but it didn't really it took off for a while, but it didn't last because, it wasn't my soul. It wasn't what was really in there. It was more compromised. It was beautiful and wonderful, and it had soul and had heart, because I put that in it, but it wasn't everything that was there, because I was restricting myself, because I was trying to fit into what I felt could, because I saw some other artists making it, like in the art licensing world. I went into that world, and I was making it really well. And I followed other artists. Once again, I'm trying to fit someone else's success and feeling like I belonged there. But, it just took years of keep doing your art, or keep doing you, whatever it's your art, whether it's your art or keep doing you to fully develop and to set yourself free. And the people that can do that early on, right on for them,
It's never easy, but it's just one step at a time, right? It's just one step at a time. But you've had so many amazing milestones to get to where you are. And one of the milestones of self-discovery is where I met you just for a brief moment. And it was through like Mishka Productions and Celebrate Your Life. And at what point were you within, I guess, creating yourself at that time and furthering your understanding of your work?
that was another exciting exploration to spirituality. Just trying to open all those spiritual doors that I knew were in there, but like I said, that putting myself down was keeping too many doors closed. So at that time, I had created quite a bit of spiritual art, but you know what? If I still didn't believe it was all that I had in me. And I put that energy into it. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah, I hear you.
even though it really was some great, because everything I did wasn't, I guess that's like most people, like everything you do doesn't turn out great, but there was a whole body of strong work, and I felt good about it, but I still felt that or yearning and emptiness. And I guess that's what keeps you driving, to get to just keep driving, to get more and more. But trying to seek the answers to all that, was that wonderful session, or that wonderful weekend was very opening. But I was teaching high school art at the time, and and seeking more spiritual wisdom.
I think, opportunities like that, it's not like we get everything we need in that moment, but it creates a fork in the road almost for, now that I'm looking at this, where do I go? Who am I? Who am I? And I remember like a little bit afterwards, like, I don't know how far afterwards, but a little bit afterwards, I started seeing like on your social media that you started presenting power portraits. And I was like, whoa, this is awesome. This is so cool. And they were beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous, stunning. Yes.
And that's when I broke open to identity. Everybody needs to stop and think about this identity. What is your image of yourself? How do you see yourself? Where do you see yourself being or doing? How, your identity. What is your identity? And my identity before I was still conflicted. I wasn't totally believing that I could be in the visionary gallery, the ideal visionary gallery, and yet I knew I belonged there, and yet there was this battle. So when I got clear, just like let go of the lack of belief, my identity is to be in that powerful visionary gallery, helping people to be who they are. Because as a teacher, my most important thing for me with each student was to help them discover who they are, to help them fall in love more with themselves. Whatever, it didn't matter about their skill level or their talent, or if they liked art or if they didn't. In high school you get all levels. What mattered to me is that they had some self-discovery, to discover something about themselves, and they could fall in love with themselves a little bit more. And the more we can fall in love with ourselves, and then you just feel your identity comes, or you start clarifying your identity. If you stop and say, I don't know if you always have to stop, but I had to stop and say, who am I? What is my ideal me? Or what am I feeling inside? So when I clarified my identity, it set me free, because my art now is that combination of spirit and my values. You discover your values. And my two top values are spirituality and creativity. And, so to help and to serve. And so to help people discover themselves through, like my personal power portraits, I interview them for 90 minutes and I ask them questions about what lights you up, what colors, what symbols, what animals, what is it that lights you up? What do you do that lights you up? And then I tune into their energy and I put it all together and I represent that energy of like, yes, that's who, and because we get caught up in that 9 to 5 day of routine and we forget that high energy. I mean, this reminds me, this is my high energy, like this is me, this is the soaring, that seeing it from a higher perspective. And every time I forget, I go back to that, and it just takes me there. So the more I can help That's why it's such a turn on for me and such a high for me to help people see, and they get more, even through the process of the 90-minute conversation, asking the questions I do, they say, wow, this is opening my awareness of what really matters to me, because we lose touch. We get so busy doing our little things, and we don't, just forget what really does matter.
Yeah. And to kind of invoke the deeper meaning of our identity as we do things. Because sometimes, right, we might be doing something extra wonderful, but it's not the full essence of what makes us us. Because I just want to give you kind of like some, I guess, I don't know, a memory, share a memory with you. So when I met you, you lay down all these postcards of the work that you did. And I was like, oh, like, this is so beautiful. I immediately felt the energy within the postcards, and it felt so heart-centered and so etheric. And I was like, this woman is so kind and talented. And I picked the postcard of the hummingbirds. I'm actually up north, so I'm not at home right now, but I actually have it in my office. I have the hummingbirds in my office.
Oh, I'm so glad.
Yes, I would. I'm thinking of having you on. I was like, oh, I'm going to show her. I'm like, I don't have it with me. I actually don't have it with me right now. But like every time I look at that, I would think of friendship, and there's so much like pink, and there's like a mint greens in there, and I was just like, it just would make me feel happy and joyful. So it invoked the totem of hummingbird and the colors within my heart. So it was already very healing just to even look at that. And so it's amazing that you're just like, just like power portrait. Okay. And you do and please talk about this, within the power portraits, you do multiple animals for people. And you do colors like the golds, and just please talk about the process and what you give people that's so personalized.
Yeah, I have my own. This isn't really my power portrait. This is just my powerful symbol, or the one, my favorite. But it's so big it doesn't fit here, and it has the gold and all I got so many animals and so many so many aspects, and the moon and the stars and just so many things. So there's so many things that light us up, and I'm not. So your question was. What was your question?
Oh, no. I was just sharing a lot of emotion and
I know.
Work.
I get so caught up in the emotion of it all myself.
I hear you. I feel you. So the question was to talk about. So when in the postcard that I have and I saw, there's just so much within that. And then within your power portraits, like you make it so custom, and you do multiple animals for a person, specific colors, and to talk about that process.
Yeah. So it's very exciting because, I have, I guess, my style, but I love how everyone is so different that I've been doing. And when I line them up visually on the computer or wherever, and line them up, I go, wow, that just shows how unique and how different every human being is. And that's what our whole goal in life is to discover our unique self and love our uniqueness more and more every year. The more we love ourselves, the more we discover about ourselves, the more we can be all that we're here to do and be. And it just feels good, so capturing that, through the process of the interview, then I play that tape. It's a Zoom call, so then I play that Zoom call again, and I close my eyes and get into the energy of it all, and just start sketching, and I just feel the flow of what's going on, and it's just amazing, the trust. I wrote a little thing one day about how just amazing how the trust. I'll start with a certain flow or a certain feel, a certain layout that I've that you just, like any artist, you just feel the movement and you feel the energy. Life is energy. That's all there is. It's all energy. So every day, every minute, if we just get in tune with our energy, we can just sort of, say, where is our energy right now? Is it down? Or let me do something to lift my energy. So I stay in a high energy space while I'm sketching, and then I, get the main thing going. And, there's parts where I'm like, oh my gosh, how am I going to put all this in there, or how I'm going to do all this? And then the minute I've learned to never question, because it just flows. And that's life, isn't it? The artwork process is just symbolic of life. Just you get a feel for maybe a job or a career or a direction of something that you feel you want to do. You go that direction, you get that general feel, and then you just trust that all the little pieces come together, because you just keep going with it. You keep trusting your intuition and you keep flowing. So it's all about trust and energy and flow. And that's what makes life such a turn on, like that's why. And the more you live life like that, and the more I'm doing, and I'm doing these portraits like that. I mean, I asked the person, after, sometimes they want to be, the person will want to be involved like often during the process. Like I'll send them images of the process. Some people don't want to see it till the end. Some people want something in between. But I tell them, if something comes to mind that you want to add something, like I'll be close to almost done, and they'll say, oh, what about this other and this really odd big thing? And I'm like, and I'll go, you know what? I'm just going to trust there's and sure enough, every time there's been a way, and it's like that spot has been waiting for it.
Wow.
It just blows me away. It's happened every single time. Anytime someone has added something, like, what, I love to see this in there also. And I was like, I don't even, anyway, it just works out perfectly.
I'm tuning into what you're saying, and it's just like imagining whether it's like, flames or an animal or more of a color, just like the composition just comes together.
Yeah. And then at the end, you look at it and you live with it. I can't say I'm going to be done in a certain amount of time, because you got to live with these, and just feel it. And it's like an actor or an actress, they get into a part of play. So I'm in their energy, I'm in their space, I'm in their feeling. And so I look and I can feel if I'm capturing them or not, and I still need something more to capture who they are, and then I just keep working it until it does that, and it's really cool.
That's such a unique process too, that you take the Zoom recording like with their energy and you play it as you're creating it.
Well, no, not while I'm creating. I listen to it, and I'll do some sketches, some light sketches. Yeah.
Got it.
But and maybe write some notes, but no, I don't actually work with. I mean, their energy's already then in me,
So it's a little bit before, but that I think is wonderful that you invite that in, to strengthen that connection and that inspiration. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, I know. Life is energy, and intuition. Just trust. We make things so complicated by questioning. Like if I'll think, oh, I should combine this or do that or use that color or do this, and I go, stop questioning, just do it. In life, all of us, if your intuition, and we've heard this a million times, but it's so true. Just because if your intuition tells you to do something, don't let that overthinking and judging yourself or letting someone else's judgment redirect it. Like if somebody might be looking at my picture in the process and they'll go, why is that there, or what is that? I mean, in the past I'd be kind of like, I'd make excuses or whatever. I said, you'll see, it'll all evolve, you'll see, just give it time.
Just having like the confidence and the faith. So what did you have to let go of in your life to get here?
Putting myself down.
That's pretty major though. That's pretty major.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, I'm celebrating you. I love to talk about how talented you are, because that's what I feel in my heart. And it's so amazing, because you say I had to let go putting myself down, but that's one of the first things I see about you. I go, you are so talented. You're so talented. Yeah.
Well, it's interesting because I became a workaholic in college. I became a workaholic because that was one of those stories the second year of college in this big university, Washington University in St. Louis, Washington University. It's one of the better art schools, at least at the time I was there. I think it still is. Powerful university. One of the powerful professors insulted me terribly and said, you're not creative and you really shouldn't be an artist. You're going to be one of the 27,000 starving artists in New York City alone, and you don't want to join that. So you really should be a home economics major. And, that kind of haunted me for many years. And, it didn't have to, but there was a part of me that believed him. Those things only haunt you when a part of you believes it. And so I didn't quit. He liked to stop artists from progressing. That was his thing. I found out later. He liked to insult, to see it almost as a test, because if that could have stopped me, then I had no business continuing, because you're going to be criticized, and it's not easy to be an artist. So if you don't have the will or the passion, I mean, as a teacher, I saw students with incredible talent, and they didn't have the passion to really, do it. And then other students had medium talent or a little bit of talent and so much passion that their talent just blossomed, because the passion was there. It's all about passion. So, I had so much passion. I mean, my heart would pound out of oh my gosh, I was so driven. Michelangelo and Da Vinci were in my soul. It's like, that's it. Like I felt them. It was just like, and so I was a workaholic, getting my skills better and better and better and better and better, to where I didn't have to be so concerned after years of practice. My skills then became secondary. And I one day I was like, wow, my skills, I even have to say, my skills have really gotten good, because I was insulted by that professor because of my bad human drawings from human life. And I got into the master's program because of my skill to draw the human figure. That's how much I had improved myself. I worked and worked until I just really got good at it. And, but I said, you know what? My skill is great, but I'm still blocking the spirit. Like it's not speaking to me. So then when I moved to Sedona, Arizona, it's such a spiritual place. And I did not know it was a spiritual place. I moved there to just have some peace in my life, or not to go into that whole story, but to move into there. And that's when the spiritual side of my art started showing, because I had peace and I was receiving this powerful spiritual energy just living there. And then my art started speaking. And, that was, I don't know what the step was. I mean, it was just following your intuition for me to move to Sedona. How did I know? I didn't move there like, oh, I'm going to move to Sedona because now that's going to help my spiritual, art grow. Like I didn't have any idea. I didn't even know what Sedona was all about. So I follow my intuition. It's always about that, just trusting that voice. And it's really cool. I love this formula of when you want something, like something as simple as I want a certain kind of car, something like that. And you go, why do I want that car? What is the feeling I'm going to get if I'm in that car and I own it? What's the feeling I'm going to get? And then once you get in touch with the feeling that having that certain car, that color car, that whatever it is that you are seeing, if you get in touch with that feeling, then get into that feeling now. And all of a sudden there's a peace that comes over and it activates energy, and either that car will come into your life or you don't really need it anymore because you've got the feeling within yourself. Like whichever way happens, the best will happen for you. But it's all about feeling and energy and getting in touch with that. And that putting myself down got so boring. just I got so tired of hearing myself, because I would look at my art and go, why? I mean, I can see that I'm doing some powerful stuff. Like, why am I still? And then it became a habit, right?
Right.
Like a habit. I was like, oh my gosh. And now it's simply a habit. So then I had to learn the spiritual lessons to stop a habit and develop new habits. And, so all these things really help, to just eventually get to that place of, woo. And you're still gonna have those little moments, and then you look at something that brings you back, and we're human. It just, you're never gonna. When I was in Sedona, there were people that just felt like you could elevate. I forget what the word elevate to this high level to where everything's perfect. Well, no, we're human. You can raise to where you're happy more of the time, but you're always going to have those experiences. But it's how it's how you respond to what happens, and to know that those negative things are part of your journey and they make you strong, and all those things. And boy, that was a huge, like, when I would fail at this and fail at this business and fail at that business, and then finally I looked at it, I was like, well, if any of those had succeeded, I wouldn't be doing what I am now, because I'd be doing that thing that was financially successful, and I would have stopped there, like, yay, I'm making money. Like, why was that? Yeah. So, like, it just, you trust your journey to take you where your heart really wants to be, and make it as easy as you can.
That's beautifully put. Like, if you were to stay in an area where you were successful from money, you would have fulfilled, this just one little piece of who you are and go, I did it. But since there was so much more coming out, it took you like through these peaks and valleys, but it made you question yourself, but you're in a completely different and more fulfilling place because of that. I think that's like really important perspective wise. And you also talked about, life isn't all about staying at this incredibly high vibration, and we're human, but I would love to hear your perspective on that, because I think one of the things that you're masterful of is like generating energy and giving that to others. Like, if you can tell people actually a little bit about what you do, like you'll go into like retirement homes, and you'll dance and give people like all this color and song. Can you talk about that and how that you apply that to your life?
Well, it's a simple formula. Life is all about growing and sharing. So as I grew, I got more confident to be able to do that. My husband is like an incredible singer, and he sings like, like gorgeous. And he goes down to retirement homes, and I used to go along and just sort of tap my toe, with him. And eventually I got the confidence to just start, getting somebody to dance with me. And then I start, like, it just evolved to where I'm full-blown costume and full-blown entertainment and twirling and bringing props, and because the confidence grew. And so I was giving more, and people are like, how can you twirl and because I'm not a dancer, I'm just a jumper, but I have happy energy. And they said, how do you have the energy to do this for an hour? And I said, because your love, your eyes, you're looking at me with joy, and it feeds me, and I give it back to you. And it's this circle of energy, and that's what life's all about, is that, I grew to where I was confident, and then I was able to share, and then now I'm giving back, and then they give back to me. And, that's just the biggest high, right?
It is the biggest high. And so do you find that there's immense healing in your life and other people's life through to partake in that energy?
Yeah. I mean, all different ways, even just, when you're out shopping at the grocery store, just saying something nice to the cashier, that's just makes you just as high, because they light up, you compliment their earrings or some little thing, anything. And they light up, and then you light up, and you're just spreading the joy. And it's just making a little bit of effort, but till it becomes natural. It's just something you just do. And it's just that giving giving back and sharing, just sharing the joy,
And if I may ask, like, has this always been, excuse me, has this always been like a go-to within your life, or was there an event where you were kind of made aware of the power of joy and healing, and you just brought this fantastic energy to others?
I think I've always had a joyfulness inside, but I kept it within so much, in my opinion. When I look back, I wasn't confident to. I couldn't speak with people. Like I didn't feel like I was kind of down on myself saying I wasn't bright, because I'm very emotional. I'm like la la la, happy, happy, and that I didn't see myself as so. So I wouldn't speak to people most of the time. I mean, I would smile. So I'm not sure I'm answering your question, but there's a feeling of there is a joy inside. But once again, it is like Leonardo, like Da Vinci and Michelangelo were inside, but I wasn't fully letting them out. It's like the joy was in there, but I wasn't fully letting it out because I was putting myself down. It's back to that same old thing. It's just amazing how much we stop our unique selves, and because
Yeah. Oh, I was just gonna say, like, this was inside of you, and just like you blasted past, being in a box with like family or school, and you're like, this is the artist that I want to be. How did you start, I guess, speaking with people? How did you start, like, was it other people that kind of inspired you to go one step at a time, like, when I'm here I feel better, or like, because you just have such dynamic energy? That's why I want to talk about it.
oh, thank you. I love life, how you're attracted to who you are. And I say this to people when people are really attracted to me. I say I'm a mirror of you. Like like when I was in Sedona, Robert Shields. Do you know Shields and Yarnell? They're famous mimes. And
No,
yeah,
tell me about them.
so he lived there, and he like I'd be at the post office. You go to a public post office, and he was there picking his mail up. And he was, because a mime is, you don't speak, he's extremely free with his body, to just be expressive. And I was so drawn to the freedom he had with his body. Like, how can you be that, like, to it? Because I was a stranger, like, how can you be that open and free? I mean, and I was so magnetized to that. And I realized that intense magnetism was because he was expressing that part of me that hadn't gotten out yet. So when you're really attracted to someone's something, it's because that's in you, and you're trying to release, and the more you release it, the more you discover it. I mean, you discover it by being attracted to it, and then when you realize that, that's who you are, and so then you work to break those barriers down. Like, what is it that stopped you? I mean, I did a hypnosis session, and discovered that my German father, when I was 5 years old, I was wanting to twirl, and he wasn't into that. Children were seen and not heard. And so in my hypnosis, I fantasized that I was twirling, and my dad was approving of it. But I mean, we couldn't even sit on our nice couch. I mean, it was like we had very restricted, I mean, not very restricted, but I wasn't free to I twirl and speak, and so you just develop those habits of just kind of trying to fit in and trying to please and try, and I just had to break through that stuff, and we all have a childhood stuff, we all have parent stuff, and that we break through, and that's
The more you discover, the more you release, the more you release, the more you discover. I think they go really hand in hand. You said it really beautifully. And you mentioned like Leonardo da Vinci as one of your inspirations. And do you find that he works with you now, like even
Oh,
now?
yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. His strength is showing the feelings from it within. Like the Mona Lisa, she had that really subtle smile. And I can't say the Mona Lisa is my favorite thing he's ever done. I mean, I was much more taken by the things on the side, and the herds were watching, looking at Mona Lisa, and it's a beautiful painting, of course. But it's an example of the subtle, the subtle expression of what was going on internally. Where
Yes.
Michelangelo is about the power and the muscles and the amazing anatomy and spiritual, strength from God. And Leonardo da Vinci was very much more about the subtle inside coming out, and it's just so, it's just so sensuous and so sensitive and so heart-filled, just so, and yet so smart and so wise and so, just everything. The more you read about him, all the levels of people that he was, that all came out, like he was at 14 years old, he sat and watched grass grow, because he wanted to understand, and he just would be that patient and that calm and that connected to just, in order to express it, he would be that peaceful. Well, how often do we do that in our Western society? We're like, go, 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 go. How often do we sit and watch the grass grow to allow the sensitive parts of the world to allow spirit to speak to us? Like, quiet down already. I mean, I was so hyper. I had to learn that, like I had to go back and read more about him. I was like, wait a minute, if you like him so much, you better, that's a huge, huge thing. Quit this hyperness and, just start loving yourself. Because the hyperness was anxious to be someone I wasn't. Like when you're always pushing, 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 go, 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 you're not happy where you are. You're trying to be somewhere else. You're trying to be something else, somewhere else, somebody else. Maybe you'll be happy over there. That hyperness is go, go, go. So, even if you're not totally happy, there's more. Knowing that hyperactivity will never get you there. Well, I mean, there's all kinds of examples of that, like the beach ball in the water, right? Like if you're standing on the shore, you throw a beach ball out to the water, and if you hyper jump after the beach ball to try to get it, what happens to the beach ball? Like goes real far away, right? But if you just like maybe swoosh the water towards you, or just let the flow of the river or the water just bring it to you, but that peacefulness, we see that beach ball and we can't, the Western society is like, I gotta have that beach ball, like, and you this anxiousness, just it's for sure going to keep it away from us. And once you get that in your head, every time you go with that hyperness, you kind of, remind yourself. Took me the longest time to get that habit, because I just felt like that hyperactivity would always achieve what I wanted. And then I finally through the spiritual class I went where you met me and many other lessons, I finally, I drew about being peaceful and tranquil. That's the key, stopping, being at peace, loving the moment, listening, relaxing. And that's where the true joy comes, and it's hard because the Western way is we just aren't raised that way, or most of us aren't.
I hear some pretty interesting stories for people who come from an Eastern philosophy too.
Yeah.
There's still a lot of pressure. There's always that pressure to perform. And yeah, it really is. And I agree with you. There was like a lot of peace that came out of that class of, hold on a second, let me look at things a little bit differently. I love it. I love hearing about how you felt regarding. And with like Michelangelo and Leonardo da Vinci, I would imagine that they were highly sensitive people, and I would imagine you're a highly sensitive person too. And sometimes there's a lot of anxiety that comes with being highly sensitive. Do you find, because there's so much stimulation, right? There's so much inspiration. There's so much thoughts, right? There's so much even passion. Sometimes someone can be very anxious because they have so much passion to get it right? But it's interesting because I do hear about that correlation with very highly sensitive people. There is naturally much more anxiety at times. Everyone's very different. But can I hear about how they fuel you even to today? Like how you use them? Do you imagine them around you? How do you bring them in when you work?
Well, I don't remember when I was told, and it's been many years ago, that I could actually channel them and I could actually talk to them. And I mean, I was like, whoa, that is the coolest ever. So it's just a matter of talking to them like I talked to my mother who is gone, and it's just a relaxing thing, and it's a trust again. But for me, my anxiousness and all the sensitivity, to me it has just fed me. Once I quit the putting myself down stuff, the sensitivity just feeds me. And so they're so sensitive that I relate, and it produced such greatness that it just reminds me that sensitivity and is a good thing, so it's not an anxious thing, and it's not, so it's just a constant reminder and a beautiful, it's a beautiful power, the peace is power, right? Peace is power. And so they give me peace just knowing that they're here because I bring them in. And that just gives me peace, and then that gives me power, and I just love that. And it's so simple. We make things so complicated, like it doesn't have to be a big ritual. You can make it a ritual if you enjoy rituals, and that's what it takes. So that's what works for you, because everybody has their unique way of doing things. For me, it happens instant and quick and just peacefully, and just like I said, I talked to my mom in spirit, and then I talked to Da Vinci in spirit, just like it's all casual, it's just like fun.
It is fun. One of my sayings is sensitivity is intelligence. With grace and skill, you have abundance. So I'm a big proponent of the power of sensitivity. And it's amazing that you can feel and talk with like people that give you so much inspiration and love. Do you bring in any other people to ignite your passion when you work?
They're it. I can't think of
Pretty powerful.
Yeah, other than personal, people who have passed that are my personal
That's
people.
important.
Yeah. And people that I felt connected to when they were here, and I'm like, thank you for thank you for being there with me and continuing to be there for me, and just appreciation and gratefulness, because that's what life's all about, right? Gratefulness. So.
Absolutely. And sometimes, like on a different day, someone comes in a different way to ignite that gratitude for sure. If I may ask too, so with people looking to come find you and get their own portrait, how can they find you, or what services do you offer that people can be a part of?
I'm actually putting together a little presentation thing. It's just brand new, like as of a week ago, so I can't really speak about it much, but because I haven't clarified exactly what it's going to be. But you can join my I wanting to share more fun and energy, and just more expansiveness through word and through what I've learned, just sharing some of the things I've learned. So you can join my email list. My website is my name, Joan Marie, Marie, art, Joan Marie art. Everything is Joan Marie art, .com is my website. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. I'm having fun with that, just having little short, just things. It's fun.
It is fun.
Instagram, all of it, YouTube, all of it. Joan Marie art is everything. So, you can private message, all the ways you can reach through all that. You can reach me. But the easy way to sign up on my email would be on my website, joanmarieart.com.
And so,
and on my website too, there's a page for the portraits, so it goes to the page where it explains that more. Or you just DM me on Facebook and ask a question, and I'll send you the things, or whatever is easy. Reach out to me, I'll respond.
Yeah, go to her website. You can see a lot of her gorgeous art that she's done, and it's so beautiful to see.
Thank you.
Also, absolutely, on social media too, you do sometimes Saturday night live art shows, correct?
Yeah, yes. Yeah. That is so much fun. Yes, Brooke Harker, Nicole, and Cheryl, the four of us, we host Saturday Night Live. Brooke started this during the when COVID started and the galleries were closed. And she said, let's share our art live, on the website all at the same time on a Saturday night. So we're still doing, a lot of artists are still doing that. So all artists are invited. Just go to my, any way you want to reach out to me and say, I'd like to show my art on Saturday with you guys. And we bring whatever video you show every Saturday, Saturday anytime, usually in the evening. It can be live or pre-recorded. You just show something you've done, share some art, and then we bring that video or whatever you've done to our page, Saturday Night Live art shows. And so they're all together on one page. But you just post it on your own Facebook or Instagram, and then we bring it over to the page where it's all one. So it's just really cool to share something live or something new that I'm working on, or something in the past if I'm working on something that's not done, or so every Saturday I do a video showing something that I've done and I'm live talking about it. So it's that's on Facebook and Instagram, and it's really fun. Thank you for bringing that up.
Absolutely. I was I'll be looking and I'll be like, whoa, like that's cool. And I'll see another person. And I didn't know, I knew that there was a community within artists, but I didn't know the inception of it, or, that it's so inclusive. I think that's amazing. So many different styles,
Yeah.
encouragement.
Yeah.
So it's great to it's a lifeline to anyone out there who's an amazing artist. Come on by, right?
Exactly. I mean, there's artists all over the world who are joining us on Saturday. Their time, like if they're in India, or their time zone is different. But usually in the evening on Saturday, their time, they show something on their own page, and then we bring it over to our page. So it's very easy, and it's a good way to get artists to start sharing, and talking about their work, because people want to hear what they say, and to see all these different wonderful artists, and to see all the people all over the world sharing. I just love it. So I'm very proud to be a part of this. Nicole McDaniel and Cheryl Benji and Brooke Harker and I are the hosts. And like I said, Brooke started this, and I'm just real proud to be a part of the foursome that keeps it going,
I mean, I think it's incredible. So I know you can't share what you're working on. I know it's top secret and it's being formulated, right? But where do you see your energy going as it goes forward? You're present in yourself, yes, but where do you naturally, I guess, start to feel your energy going within the work?
You mean other than the portraits I'm doing, you're saying where it's headed after this?
Wherever. I know I made it very, very broad, like within your art, or within your energy work, or within just the way that you give within your profession with others. Where do you see your energy starting to go? Because we talked about how it's evolved after so many years, and you're finding more of your identity, or you're finding different aspects of yourself that are truly the expression of the heart. So do you find anything opening up starting kind of around this time additionally too?
Yeah, it's cool. That's why life is so cool, because you don't have to work at this stuff, like, oh, what's the next stage after this? Am I doing enough, or is this the right thing? You don't just say, I trust that I'm doing the right thing, and then you just listen. And when the Lionsgate came, you just do it. I did a little ceremony, and just like, what's up for me. And I saw that I wanted to get more involved in speaking. So I'm opening the door to that possibility, and in different ways. I haven't quite formulated how that's going to happen, but just like I said, for that to happen, and I was like, what am I doing? Like, I mean, that is not something that I would have sat around and said, I think after, while I do portraits, I'm going to do speaking too. Like, it isn't something that you sit around and decide. It comes to you, like, I mean, I did do I did relax and did a ceremony and, like allowed to things to come in and listened, and that's what came. So then you just trust that, and you just keep following the voice inside. So
I'm rooting for more speaking. That's what I'm doing. let's do it.
Well, yeah, to share the fun. I mean, I just share the fun. It's about just, life is meant to be fun. I put a book together that is, the subtitle is Life is Meant to Be Fun, like create magic. And the magic is just feeling the joy. That's the magic. And because we stop it so much by judging ourselves and judging others and wondering if we're okay and wondering if we're doing it. Well, there's so much more to us that, that is already there if we would just trust and lighten up. We get so caught up in doing the right thing and everything that it stops. Oh my gosh, the human spirit, the soul is so, the more you are aware of the possibilities, the more you lighten up. That's what just expanded me. It just opens and gives me more peace. Just the more I understand that I don't understand a thing. We can't come up with answers, why things happen, why things don't happen, why this, why that. There's no answers necessarily. It's like, just live with peace through it all and rise above it. Rise above it, because that's what the soul is. The soul is like the spirit, and we are here in human bodies with a soul that is so grand. And we're just not allowing it to come through, because of our judgment. And so that's the thing that set me free, was just seeing the way bigger picture and just lightening up.
The energy of the eagle, right?
Yeah. And soaring and having fun. I mean, how much more fun is it, than to be up there going, whee! And I see them, of course, I want to see an eagle flipping, twirling, like a somersaulting in the sky, because that's what I would want to do, But is there a bird that somersaults in the sky?
I'm trying to think. I know Swifts do some pretty interesting kind of acrobatic moves sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's the next possible animal totem, right? whatever that bird is.
Yeah, create your own. It doesn't matter. There doesn't have to be it. It's in your imagination. That's the thing. Your imagination. We haven't even brought that word up. Oh my gosh. I mean, it's like, for me to know where I am today, I couldn't have predicted that I was going to do personal power portraits. It evolved. Like, I allowed the magic to happen by doing what felt right and just being at peace and letting the next step evolve. And that's when the magic happens. And because far greater things happen when you lighten up and allow and enjoy the moment. Far greater things can happen and in ways that you can't sit and go, oh, I want this to happen, this ABC, like, no, our little human minds can't get it right. They just don't see the bigger picture. They can't come up with another formula like, oh, I need X amount of money to do this. There's a whole nother formula that could happen for that to happen, same thing to happen. But our little brains can't come up with it. So we have to just open up and say, okay, I'm open. Like, this is what I see, this is what I feel, this is what I want. I feel it good. And whether it comes or not, I'm at peace. I'm just relaxed, and then just live in the now, in the moment, and just let it all just take its course.
You talked about imagination too, and if I may, As we're coming kind of to the close, I just want to make sure, though, that I talk about that word because it's so important. You have people, I'm sure, that, you know, they ask for Pegasus or unicorns or dragons. And how do you find that's stimulated, that imagination with the way that you encourage people and that you create for people?
Well, I very much connect to all those animals. They're like, I mean, the unicorn is like, to my two most powerful spirit animals are a unicorn and an eagle. So it's those two things. And then the lion, the white lion. But because they represent different worlds. But the unicorn is, for me, is that magic, that purity and that power. But yeah, I mean, imagination is Disney. It's imagination's everything, like everybody that ever created anything use their imagination. And the more you understand that, don't make it a big thing like, oh, now I'm going to use my, just allow things just come. And then, just like, whoa, then just don't stop it. That's when your imagination, because everyone has an imagination if you're not stopping it. Too many of us, resist it and say we can't, or I'm not imaginative, or like I was told I wasn't creative. Well,
Yes.
the more I believed, well, yeah, because I didn't believe I was. I mean, through high school and the way I was raised, I was very scared to try to be creative. I was very restricted in my, so I had so many blocks about that, yeah, I agreed with them. I know I'm not creative, now what? But I really think you can learn how. And he's like, no, you got to be born with creativity. And I was like, well, and it's like, and I'm sorry you weren't, Well, we know now that that's not true. All of us are born with intuition, telepathy, creativity, all these things are there, but we block it through not believing, not trusting, not, just I'm not good enough. I can't do it. I'm not, blah, blah, all the negativity. So what we need to do is just lighten up with the negativity, open those doors, figure out where the blocks are, and just have fun. And the magic, let the magic out.
It's a testament, because you came in here saying like the two, adjectives I know about myself are I'm creative and I'm spiritual, right? And so what a like test, right? What a test that life gave you in the beginning. And so what I like to do is, before we leave, I always give the guest like a last word that they want to share with the audience, whether it's an inspiration of what we've talked about or something, really close to your heart.
I mean, my words are always everything. I wasn't ready for this, but everything is energy. I mean, that's just always my big thing. Everything is energy, getting in touch. I this little thing I wrote, I don't think it says anything new from everything I've said, so I'm not going to take the time because I don't think I have it.
One time someone said to me, oh, like you're putting so much pressure. And I said, pressure creates diamonds. And then she laughed. But yeah, honestly, it's just whatever from your many years of, love for this work or whatever, just like, the wisdom of the eagle, just reiterate whatever just comes naturally. It's like kind of a moment of creativity. What sparks when I just say, hey, what's something important to you before we go?
Yeah. So the joy, the joy of energy. I mean, the joy is everything, and it's just like being in touch with energy is the most important thing. We make all these rules come first. Should I do this? Should I do that? Well, whatever. But if we just get in touch with what makes us feel good, what makes us smile, and where's my energy right now, that's what life's all about, and let it evolve and be at peace with however long or fast or short things take. Just let it flow, and trust.
Well, You heard it. You heard it from the beautiful energy of Joan Marie. Let it flow and trust. And she's given us so many different avenues of wisdom with this time we've had together. And thank you again so much for being here. Kevin, hello. Thank you for coming in as well. I want to invite everybody to go to her website, and also please, within the energy of luck, love, and light, don't forget to live. I will see you next week, everybody. Thank you.
Thank
everybody.
The truth is here and now on WLTK-DB Talk Radio at WLTK-DB.com.